G'day. Where are we now, right now?
We're at my home.
At your home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here before. Mm-hmm. It is a beautiful home.
Thanks.
It is. What are we here to do today?
You're going to interview me about the Bolivian Death Road series. I'm going to be an open book. I do not know any of the questions that you're going to ask me.
That's genuine? They'll probably think it's fake.
Of course. Norm, I've been friends with Norm for nearly 20 years. Norm actually did my first $1 Million Bogan vlog. He actually filmed it, if you go right back to the very start. So, yeah, I've known Norm for a long time. Norm, the reason why I asked Norm to do this interview is because Norm is a straight shooter.
Am I a raving fan of Danny's?
No. You watch... Norm will send me a text and he says, I've just turned this shit off. I can't watch it anymore. And I can hear his wife in the background ripping into me, and they've just turned the TV off in the middle of my vlog. But Norm does watch every vlog because I think you've probably seen it evolve over the last 6 or 7 years.
Look, the reason I watch every vlog is twofold. I'd find it entertaining. Yep. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Also, I know you're going to ask me about it, so if I haven't watched it, you'll think I'm not a good friend. Because we are, I need to say, we are friends, but I'm not a raving Danny fan. I call Danny out on bullshit when I think it's bullshit. We don't see eye to eye all the time. I've got a few notes, so forgive me if I look this way occasionally. But here's the Danny I know. An overexcitable person. A really, really, really passionate person. You go full noise at everything. Everything you do, you go full noise. Twist the grip off. You're incredibly loving. And it's got to be said, at times, you're a complete nutcase. Mm-hmm. That's the Danny I know. So I want to try and ask you about the stuff that maybe not your raving fan would ask you. Yep. Because I love the blogs, right? Mm-hmm. I threw shit at the TV, and I'm sure other people threw shit at the TV, because it just seems so incomprehensible. I'm going to try and be as upfront as we can, because I did just talk to you before. Said to my daughter's known you for as long as I've known you. She's she's known you since she was 8, playing with your kids. Yep. And I said to her, Danny, I said, Sass, I'm going to go interview Danny, and there's some people who think that what Danny does is a little bit fake. What do you say about that? And she said, I think those people don't understand is that when she's seen you on the TV and the news, or, maybe promos for Big Brother or whatever it was, she said sometimes that Danny, the curator Danny, that's the fake Danny. She says the Danny that we've seen most of the time on the vlogs, that's the real Danny. Because that's the reality, right? Yes, I think so. You don't appear to have much of a dial that can go on and off a bit. I've seen you come off. I've seen you with tears in your eyes. I've seen you broken. But generally speaking, you're on all the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the first thing I want to address is I'm not here to gloss Danny. I'm here to ask the questions that hopefully his fans want to, because it is the thing you've done well, is you've stuck at it from that first video, and you've developed an audience that they love you. And they love you for good reason. It's what you do for them, is you allow them to live vicariously through your exploits and adventures, because you put yourself into places that most of us wouldn't dream of doing. In one of your episodes where I was throwing shit at the TV, and it occurred to me as I was throwing shit at the TV that I realised that Danny's just doing what many of us would love to do. We just don't have the balls to do it. I think I said to you at that night when I rang you, it's like watching Bear Grylls, but we know that Bear Grylls has a production team. I can tell people that you don't have a production team, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not that prepared to have a production team. You're not that planned or that prepared to have a production team. All right, let's get into some questions. Go for it. All right, first question is, yes, why?
There've been studies showing that nursing homes are filled with people in their 80s and 90s. Their biggest regret in life before they die is that they didn't do enough. And people say to me that I'm on a death wish or I'm going to end up dead. Do you know what, Norm? Hand on heart, I'd rather die going under a truck or off a cliff on a motorbike at the age of 50. I've got great insurance. My kids have had the best education. They're set up. I'm set up. And I don't want to die. I'm not on a death wish because everything I do is calculated, and I do think I am experienced, irrespective of what the punters may think. I've only had one broken bone. I broke a rib once on a beach.
Just on that experience, can I pull you up? Yep. I've watched some of the third-party videos of you, And it always, because they don't know, I ride bicycles. And I ride bicycles quite extreme, have done for a long time. I sometimes see you dropping your bike for the 18th time in an episode.
Yep.
I think, fucking come on, Danny. But it's a big, heavy bike.
Yes.
It's a massive, heavy bike.
And I'm 5'6".
And you're 5'4". Come on, let's be honest. 5'4". And then I saw someone say the other day, who was obviously a motovlogger, knew what they were talking about, and they said, "Man, you really can ride a bike." Like, I'm not giving you that as a leading question. I'm saying that was a learned person saying that they could tell you could ride a bike. So that experience has really helped.
Look, I think everybody can ride a bike until they crash. Okay, everyone's the best rider until they crash. So I never say I'm the best bike rider. I think there's a thing called being bike fit. You get bike fit, so I think, you know, the more you ride, you potentially are more safer on the road. Some people think, well, if I just ride less, I've got more chance of being in an accident. I think it's the other way around.
Yep.
But I think, you know, it probably took me a good week of being on the road heading towards Bolivia for me to get bike fit. And then I felt quite safe. Okay,
you've mentioned Bolivia. So tacking on to the why Bolivia? What was the thing you saw? Did you see it on a news? Death Road, something?
No, I was having a chat with my receptionist and I said, nursing homes are filled with people that could have, should have, and would have, but they didn't. I thought, you know, why can't you ride a Harley Davidson to the Bolivian Death Road?
But how did you find out about the Death Road?
Oh, I looked it up. I looked up the world's most scariest road.
Okay.
And I thought, why not ride a Harley Davidson?
Why not there? Yeah.
Why not do that? And with narrative, with story, you've got to have a story. A lot of YouTubers, they don't have a story. So if you want to go if you want to ride to Bolivia, it's a good story. Talk about the goal of being the Bolivian Death Road.
Let's start at California.
Yeah, well, let's start there. That's a long way away. You've got to ride through Mexico, through Central America, and then into South America. When
you looked on the map the very first time, what was the...
I went like this. I went, it's not that big. And then I sort of, well, hang on, it's growing. It's quite big.
You know, I want to... Some of you might think what you just saw there was Danny acting. I've known Danny for a long time. Hand on heart. I'm just a separate observer to all of this chaos. That's not Danny acting. He genuinely would have said, "Oh yeah, that's not that big." That's genuinely what you would have said. We'll start there, we'll end there. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, I'll hand on heart. I did not think, I thought it was about a 50-50 chance I'd actually make the Death Road.
Right.
I can't tell you how close I came to throwing it in, crossing those borders.
I reckon we all saw it.
I was ready to fly out. I was ready to leave the Road King. I was right on the brink.
There's times where I could tell, as someone who understands the process a fair bit, I could tell the stress because you weren't filming. There were times in some episodes where clearly hours had gone by, where there was no content because you were clearly trying to deal with crossing the border.
Correct. And not quitting and not going home.
Yeah.
And I only knew 4 Spanish words, which I don't speak Spanish. That's all. They're the only Spanish words I know.
I'm going to come to that. So preparation. I'm laughing as I ask you the question because I know the answer. What was the extent of your preparation?
Oh, minimal. An EPIRB, an emergency device.
Because you thought, I better get that.
I had my RIC-RAC system. I need the emergency device.
Which looks like a great product, by the way.
Yeah, it is a good product. Think about life, right? The best moments of your life, Norm, have they been spontaneous? Have they been impromptu? And have they been random? If you look back over your life, have they been the most exciting? Where wow, we just did this. It was random, but that just happened. So I'm deliberately looking for adventure. So the less planning, the less packing. Because when you pack for a motovlog, you can go so overboard. And the more motovlogging I do, the less I take.
And you've got a credit card. You've got money. You can always
buy stuff.
Yeah, you can always.
Need.
Yeah, that's right. Navigation, Danny. Come on. You kept referring to it as a sat nav. For goodness sakes, it's Google Maps. It's not a sat nav. You must have realised. Surely you now realise you can do that offline.
No.
Yeah. Okay. You know, there's other navigation apps out there that are better.
I didn't research.
Okay. Your plan was just to rely on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
A normal motovlogger is going to plan their trip. They've got a Garmin. It's all set up. Okay. And it's...
I actually find that fun, that part of a trip, when we go on trips.
So I don't.
Yeah,
I go, well, I've got to get from this town to this town, and there's all these routes, right? And generally, so I've got to 34... I had 34 days to do it all in, so I would make sure that I was roughly on a schedule. So if it took me via a mountain range, the road looked solid on there.
Yep.
I would go via.
Okay, so in the morning you'd go here to there, and would you adjust the route at all?
No.
No. So whatever Google gave you,
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
Now there's been a bit of questions around. You said I had it set to, I think, straightest line. I think Google actually says avoid tolls, avoid highways. And you said during one of the episodes that you only realised that at one point.
I never actually checked, but I reckon I've turned off tolls somewhere.
Yep.
But can I just say this, until you've ridden in South America, that vlog where I rode through the landslide, that day of riding was intense, right? Now, the lady at the hotel told me, she said, if you go the main highway, it's all washed away because there'd been flash flooding the night before. So she said, go this route. So I did go that route, and I actually, you know what? I made it to Bogota.
And that's what, I mean, Google does update its recommendations on real live data, but also some real live data it can't get. So therefore, sometimes it's going to suggest something that's not there anymore.
Correct.
I mean, that can happen.
Correct. Yeah, and that did happen.
Yeah. Translation. There are translation tools. Surely you thought that would be a handy thing.
I did use them, but
because in some of the episodes they were being used on you.
I know, but they had Wi-Fi, and I didn't.
But the translation tools can be used offline.
Yeah. So I just want to let you know. Guess what my Wi-Fi? Have a guess what my Wi-Fi bill has come in at?
Okay. Well, that's another question I had, but
$11,000.
Shit. Because you just did roaming.
No, because in some countries they're charging you $1.
Yep.
Basically 5 seconds. I used it where I could, but most of the time you didn't have any Wi-Fi. I had to get to a McDonald's or a KFC. I'd set up my route then and then follow it through that way. So I did use Google Maps for that way. But at the borders, the madness of the borders was that there was no Wi-Fi there. Even the guys sometimes couldn't communicate.
And again, it's easy for me to sit here and say, well, when I go to a different country, I always have a SIM. Nowadays you can have an eSIM, which is even easier. I'm sure the viewers understand. But you were crossing many borders in one day, so that would have actually been quite challenging. In terms of, even if you were planned ahead of time, I've thought about this when I was throwing shit at the bloody TV. Why don't you have internet? I then stopped to think, well, hang on, actually, you're going through 3 countries in one day.
And you're also remote. Like it's even if you go remote in Australia, you don't have, we're a first world country. You don't always have Wi-Fi. People would say, why don't you upload your footage to the cloud?
Oh, no, I get that.
We'll try and upload 20 gigs to the cloud where you're running at 0.001 megabyte a second of upload. It's just never, you might upload it in 7 years' time, but it's not going to happen.
Okay, clothes. 1 or 2 episodes where you're soaked. And then there's another episode where you've got almost a full wet weather gear on. What the hell? Why not use the wet weather gear? Clearly you had it.
So what would happen in South America is you would come out of rainstorms and then go into warm, and any bike rider knows that you drive very quickly. Sometimes those rainstorms just didn't end.
Sure.
So I was soaked by the time I pulled over. Not only that, sometimes there wasn't, the downpours were so ferocious that you would be soaked in 1 minute, like totally soaked. And you could feel it.
And you're riding it, at speed and that type of thing.
Well, you're buffered from the bike to some degree. So you think it's just my legs. Then it gets into your jocks, and then all of a sudden. But as long as I kept this dry, I was okay.
Give us an idea. You've got the big panniers, which, can I also say, am I a motorbike fan?
No.
Can I also say just how impressive that bike clearly was in terms of its build quality and everything else? The panniers, I was amazed they didn't
snap off.
Well, even when you took them off in that last episode, I was looking carefully to think surely there'd be a crack somewhere, but they were. So what did, just a quick, 1 minute, what was in those things? On a day, what were you carrying with you all the time?
So on one pannier would have been the drone, maybe backup GoPro equipment. And then the other pannier would have been, I had a bag full of emergency stuff, like a backup EPIRB, medical stuff.
Hang on, backup EPIRB or the EPIRB we saw you?
I have a backup EPIRB.
Oh, right.
I've got 2
so
EPIRBs.
the little...
Carry which one I carry? But I've got another one.
Yeah, the little Garmin is technically not an EPIRB. So you had an actual EPIRB as well?
Yeah, well, the Garmin is an EPIRB.
Okay, but I mean, there's another brand. You remember when we were in the Navy? We were in the Navy as well, both of us. Do you have another one of those or something?
Yeah. Just it's a different type of one,
gotcha.
but it just notified emergency services of your location.
And they cost money, don't they?
Oh, they're not that dear, man. Maybe somewhere between $600 and $1,000.
But when you set them off?
No money.
Huh. I didn't know that.
I was surprised.
I was presuming it would have. Presuming you get a bill from the International Galactic Bloody Rescue Team or something.
No. I pay a monthly subscription for those.
Oh, do you? Yeah. What's that? How much?
$39.
Oh, is that all?
Yep.
Gee, good investment then.
Yeah.
Clearly, yeah.
Well, so my panniers is really okay, and I leave half a pannier free for food and water.
Right.
So that takes up quite a bit of space. So that was really the panniers, and then in my back would be clothing, safety gear. You know, in the back.
Oh, in the back
rack,
thing. Yep.
Rack.
Yep.
So.
And how much clothing did you take?
Minimal. Every time I throw more and more stuff out.
Yeah.
I wore the same clothes every single day for 34 days roughly.
Yeah.
So you become pretty feral.
That's the best part of travelling on your own, surely.
There's no one to impress. You don't care about your hair. You don't care how you smell.
Because I'm sure people can tell right now, Danny looks, presents and smells extremely nicely right now. In fact, when I walked in, I said, "What are you all dressed up for?" But this is the Newtown Danny, but during those days it would have been quite rank.
Yeah, I like being that way though. It's just freedom. I become an animal.
Big poncho you got? Have you still got it?
Yeah.
What a great piece of kit that was.
It's upstairs, yeah.
And water, I want to focus on that just for a bit because you need water throughout the day. It felt like we saw you stop a number of times, but it felt like there was times where you couldn't have been getting more water. You would have ran out of water a number of times.
Yeah, look, South America wasn't stinking hot, okay? It wasn't, so again, common sense. Like if I'm travelling through the Sahara Desert, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different setup. I was only ever probably 50 to 80 kilometres away from shops at any one time.
Yep.
So, you know.
Yep, fair enough. Good. See, honesty. The question is, it's from Jeff Hudspeth, and Jeff says, "Just tell him thanks for bringing us along on the most awesome motorcycle adventure ever."
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
That gives me goosebumps.
That's nice. Yeah, look, it does, and I don't respond to most of this stuff because there is a lot of it. There's so much of it, and I run this thing on a smell of an oily rag. Well, that's probably not true.
You're a wealthy person. You can afford to do this. That's how you choose to use your money. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to apologise for people to do that.
Yeah, I don't see myself as a wealthy person. I just see myself as comfortable, but
I'm sure people would.
But it's nice to hear those comments, and thank you.
Regardless of the tiny little bit of hate you get as well, that's the overwhelming majority of people. I've said to you before, and I've said, you know, I understand this space. I consume a lot of YouTube, and what you've managed to do is you've managed to eke out a unique audience that, can I swear?
Yeah.
That fucking love you. And they love what you've done for them. When you rode your monkey bike across the thing and you didn't make a big deal about the money you raised, you know, that's what people loved about you. When you've had events where you've had, how many motorbike riders turned up recently?
About 1,000.
About 1,000, and they all donated money to something. What was it?
$34,000 we raised.
We didn't make a big deal about that. All that stuff you don't make a big deal about. That's the stuff that sometimes people don't see. People that saw you on Big Brother and thought you were acting. I know that wasn't acting, that's just you. Okay, so Jeff, let's get on to some more questions. I'm going to, if I miss your question, I'm sorry, but there was quite a few. This was a recurring question actually.
Go for it.
Are you planning another one similar to that across something like the US?
I should be at Sturgis this year. Again, I don't know how I'm going to get to Sturgis. It'll be on a Harley Davidson.
Where's Sturgis?
Sturgis is in sort of the central part. I don't exactly know, but it's in the centre of the US.
Right.
Potentially riding there with Matt Laidlaw.
But you went to the UK. Was that something to do with family going back there, or you just wanted to go there?
No, I went to Bobhead.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The Bobhead boys come from there. They sponsor me.
Okay.
I wear their gear, which is good gear, and
good gear.
yeah, and I went all over the UK.
Okay. I asked that question because I was trying to understand how what the motivation, we just heard where the motivation came to go to Bolivia, but I'm just thinking in Danny's head, where's the motivation to go to the next place? I mean, what about, what's his name, McGregor, that went like all of Africa. I mean, is that something? Because that would be wild.
Look,
putting Danny in the continent of Africa.
I don't know. I don't know.
That would be wild.
Yeah, I don't know.
That could be.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that.
Righto. Did it cost extra to press the rescue button?
No.
And you're saying no.
No, and I just want to clarify something. So if you're in an emergency, and I'm a person that's pressed the EPIRB button, not many people in life probably have ever pressed it. They carry one, they don't press it. I pressed it. I just want to give some advice on that, Norm, from a person that's done it. If you're thinking, should I, shouldn't I, that's when you press it. Because I went through that for about an hour. I'm going to inconvenience people. I'm going to look like a dickhead.
You mentioned that numerous times.
And the reason I pressed it, and I'll just clarify this now, those people that I asked to get help, so the first people that turned up, I thought that was a rescue service. They weren't. They were those people's friends, right? They lifted up, they actually lifted up the Harley, we all did, and we put it in the back of the truck.
Righto, and Greg asks further, we didn't see you lift the rear of the bike into the truck.
Because it was dark and I just wouldn't feel, I can't, there's just one camera, one person filming.
That's what I thought too.
And no English, I can't get everything on camera.
Look, it's how much does the bike weigh?
About 400 kilos.
400 kilos, there was about 7 of you.
Four of us lifting.
Oh, shit.
And a kid, yeah.
Was there ropes involved?
Sort of. He was lifting the front, but we had to. The crash bars were really good to lift up. So those people came, and then on the way back down the track, then the emergency, we sort of bumped into each other. The emergency services wanted to take over, and they took me back to they were very kind. Now, they were volunteers. They hadn't done anything like that for about 6 weeks. They were actually really excited to see me. I've had some comments where people say, what a waste of resources. I didn't see it that way. At the time I did. But then when I thought about it, I thought I made some friends. I did give them some money off camera. Someone said, why don't you... They would not take any money. And I tell you something that annoys me. I just want to get this out now. I get these comments say, why don't you give... This person who helps you, give him money. Do you know what? It's a bit like if you helped a guy in Melbourne, let's say he had a blowout on his bike and you were there and he said, here's some money. What would you say?
No, I'd say, mate, don't worry about it. Pass it on somewhere.
People with food are exactly the same. They don't want to take it. It's not all about giving people money. People just want to do it from here.
That's right. And look, if money would help that person, you did it. We all saw that happen plenty of times.
Do you know what, Norm? What's sad is I actually can edit that stuff out. I edit it in because I want people, because people say, oh, he doesn't give any money out. It's like, well, I am giving money out.
But again, we've just established that actually I've seen you give out money in other parts that never goes anywhere near a camera. So for those people that are saying that, I can assure you Danny is a very generous person. The analogy I would give to people in Australia, you don't have many Australian viewers, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's about 30%.
Okay.
And 30%
It's
US.
like the SES people. I know plenty of SES volunteers who chomp at the bit when there's a tree down. And they have to go out at 2 a.m. in the morning.
These guys were pumped.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They love, that's why they do it. Righto, we've got so many questions. Have you changed your map settings yet?
No, I haven't.
I knew that was going to be the answer. Is Harley Davidson going to give you a new Road King?
I doubt it.
Does Harley Davidson like you? Have they ever acknowledged you?
It's a great question. Ask that question again.
Well, has Harley Davidson ever actually even acknowledged you?
Okay. This is a controversial sort of topic with me because there's YouTubers out there that are very PC.
Right.
They don't swear.
Sure.
They're wearing safety gear all the time. They're not taking a Road King. They're not looking for trouble or looking for adventure like I am. Okay. Matt Laidlaw, who is an American YouTuber, who is the most kind, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So corporate USA. Hang
on, just clarity. So after the Mexican trip?
Yeah, so after the Mexican trip, I left my Harley there and I came back home. And then I edited for 3 or 4 months. And then I went back to do Bolivia, right? Corporate USA, through Matt and a contact, put some money into the bike, a substantial amount of money.
Right.
However...
Harley Davidson did?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
What I find disappointing is that the Australian don't really want anything to do with me.
And because they think that you're not right for their brand?
Well, if I'm not a Harley Davidson person, I don't know what is. I mean, I really... And I'll just say this, and I won't go into too much details, and no names or anything like that, but I did ask, I thought whether or not I should say this or not, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. I did ask, Harley Davidson have just brought out some new Screaming Eagle Öhlins suspension. And I did ask a year or so ago, I sent a message off. I said, could I have a set of this suspension? I'll put it on my Road King and we'll brand it to death because you know that I had Wilbur suspension. So I asked Harley, and the answer was no, we don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt that was really disappointing.
Yeah.
I felt that Harley, just let me finish here because I want to say this. I'm in marketing in a big way, you know that. I felt Harley Davidson really missed an opportunity there. Of course, then Wilbur's came along, which is a German company, very top end.
Yeah.
And I had Wilbur suspension on front and rear for the whole trip of South America and Mexico. And can I tell you what? If I was going to say one thing about the bike, or what's the best thing about my Harley Davidson, apart from the motor, was the suspension. If I was to narrow down one thing, the fact that didn't blow out a seal or snap or break is beyond me. The Wilbur suspension is key. And I don't know why Harley Australia, I don't know if they have, I don't know what their issue is, but I'll just say this, YouTube isn't going away. And is it Gen what? Well, what's the younger gen that consumes YouTube? So you would agree, Gen Z consume YouTube like air. They don't watch mainstream TV, do they? YouTube is where it's at.
52-year-olds consume YouTube.
I consume YouTube too. I don't like really mainstream TV. So I think Harley Davidson, and I know USA embrace YouTubers, but Australia, it would be nice if they did embrace. And I don't think I'm doing a bad job for Harley.
Look, I think your bike, it was a testament. I've never been a fan. I've always thought the brand was a bit wank, a bit, just showy.
Yeah.
But I have changed my opinion. The bikes are clearly high quality bikes.
Absolutely.
Because you have trashed it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Simpson Desert.
Potentially, yes.
Oh, good. That's a good one. If an ugly woman with no teeth and hunchback hits on him asking what's his name, does he reply his name's David Parry? Where was Parry?
Look, David.
I think that's a statement.
Yeah, okay. Parry would come all the time. He just doesn't probably have the freedom. And he's got young kids and a wife. So
Yep.
Take that into account.
Right, let's keep going. Are you doing a video with Jason Momoa? I had to look up who that is.
It's Aquaman. No.
Right. That was from Frank Morris. Here we go. Mark Albers says, on his next adventure, can I pay to have a sticker on his bike? Thanks for the great entertainment.
Yes, you can pay to have a sticker on my bike.
Where is the Road King now?
The Road King is still in the USA. It's being ready to be shipped back to Melbourne, so I'll pick it up. That could be a couple of months away.
Because it's not a secret. There's other YouTubers that have. I'm sure I saw a video. I saw a video being picked up.
You got picked up in Miami.
What's up, weirdo?
How are you, Shadetree?
Yeah, what's happening, Danny? You doing all right, my man?
Mate, it's good to see you. Mate, people are calling you the Swamp Wizard. Why do they call you that?
Oh, come on, baby. Down here in the swamps is where my power resides. I've always got a little bit of razzle-dazzle for all of them. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Listen, look, you know how I've been your mentor for about the last 15 years in YouTube and I've got you to where you've gotten?
Danny, whatever helps you sleep at night, baby.
Listen, I'm in a bind. I've been in South America. My bike's being shipped from Colombia to where you live in Miami.
Oh, Miami, you say? That's my stomping grounds, man. Nothing goes through Miami without my say-so.
I need a big hand here. I'm wondering if you would be able to pick up my bike, the Road King, well, Marine 1. It won't be Marine 1 because I'm not sitting on it. I'm wondering, would you be able to collect it for me from the docks and take care of it for me?
Absolutely. If you're giving me your bike, I'm more than happy to pick it up.
No,
Danny,
I'm not.
That's how kind of you.
I'm not giving it to you. It's just like a loan.
Oh, a loan. I know all about loans.
And I'm wondering, look, you can have some fun with it if you want, like ride it. Whatever you do, don't break it and don't mark it because that is in pristine condition.
Very own.
Huh?
I treat it like it was my very own machine, Dan. And you see how good care I take care of my bikes. I'll put it right in the pack with all the other bikes I own. Now my Road King your Road King will be sitting there pretty. We'll take real good care of it. I promise I'll be the only one that rides on it too.
So now that's the first part of the question. I'm also wondering, I know it's not that far because I just measure it with my fingers on the map and it doesn't look that far, but is there any way that you could get the bike from Miami to Matt Laidlaw's?
That's an awful far drive, my friend. That's a long ride.
How far? How far are we talking?
I don't know if I could barely make it halfway. But if it was my Road King, I don't know. I mean, if it's your... I mean, just get the Road King to me, and I'll see what I can do, all right? Just get my Road King over here, and I'll see what I can work out for you, all right, babe? I've been wanting a Road King for a long time. I mean, I'm just to borrow it, to loan it. Loan me that Road King, because I just wanted to try one out, man, you know?
Yeah. And if you can get it to Laidlaw's, I'll make a deposit into your account. I'll look after you.
Oh, you just go ahead. You make the deposit right now. Trust me, I'm good for it. All right, baby? That's what everybody always say. Everybody says it. Everybody says it. Shadetree, he's good for it, man. You can trust me. Put your head down at night, rest and sleep easy, knowing that my Road King is in good hands.
It's my Road King. But
I mean, you're Road King. You're Road King.
Don't go via Mexico. Don't try any of that stuff, all right? Stay in the US.
All that stuff is behind me. I would never do you like that. A friend in need is a friend indeed. And you can lean your head right on me, baby. I'll keep you nice and safe.
All right, so I'm trusting you to pick my Road King up and then get it to Matt Laidlaw's. All going to plan.
Already done. It's done. Doner than done.
All right.
You just go ahead and get it over here, and once it's in my possession, it'll be just fine.
And only you can ride it, okay?
I would never dream of putting a bunch of girls on that bike. Are you kidding me, man? I got you covered, man. You can trust old Shadetree, all right?
Okay, all right. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate your help.
Anytime, baby, anytime. Anytime you need a loan, anytime you need a friend, anytime you need to give me a Road King, I got you covered.
Yeah.
By YouTuber Shadetree Surgeon, who looks after it for me, and he actually wrote it to Matt Laidlaw's across America for me.
Right. I'll read it verbatim and then we'll discuss it. Ask him why so much of his videos are fake. For example, on this video, when he got stuck, you could see that he intentionally steered left where the mud was thicker. He does this constantly on his video. The video are more like a made-up Hollywood story than real life.
Okay, I'm just going to explain something to you uneducated people. When there's a puddle, there is a puddle because it hasn't been able to seep through the ground. So that's why there's water. So if I'm going down a track, I'll actually deliberately go through the water because generally there's hard pebbles and it's a harder route to take as opposed to a muddy sludge where you can get bogged. So that's just basic. If you've ridden a lot, I tend to ride through the water, okay? Because it's generally, the water hasn't been able to seep away. So it's harder ground, okay? You see me steer on the last vlog. I think it's the second last vlog of the series. You see that where that landslide and there's that great big road where I had to
And you set that landslide up.
Oh, yeah, production. We made that landslide happen and all those people on bikes were actors. But when I was riding, I knew that would be a tough ride. I knew there would be like a 1 in 100 chance of me actually making. I nearly made it through. You see me there to the left. Can I just let you know that was about half a foot to a foot deep of sludge. Yeah. I was riding on sludge.
You could see it.
It was sludge. When I veered to the left, that's when the belt came off. Yeah. I had no control and it just went left, okay? Really? I don't know whoever asked that question, I don't know how much riding you've done with a Road King in the mud. Yep. But when you see me veer off left or right, sometimes the bike will just go there. And what I've learned is, you might think I come off my Road King a lot. I actually don't think I do come off a lot for the amount of riding I did. I did 100,000 kilometers last year in 2022. Plus I'm 5'6", so I don't generally, if I come off, generally I'm off camber, and this foot here can't reach, and once a Road King goes, it goes. You can't stop it. Have I ever deliberately faked a crash for content? Absolutely.
Wait for it.
Absolutely not. Down the barrel of the lens, absolutely never. I was filming a lady with a donkey. I just saw that. I was trying to get the donkey.
Yes,
I just rode into I rode into the hill.
The amount of times you'd be riding along, and again, I know a bit about production, and I could tell early on, and then you told me I just went one camera for obvious reasons. So much faster to edit.
Yep.
But the amount of times you'd be riding along and you'd reach to bloody turn your camera around, and I'm like, Danny, just ride your freaking bike. You know, that's how you had that crash on the beach.
Yes,
isn't it?
Correct,
yes.
correct. So the reason so some people say to me, he's always filming himself. I'm trying to capture.
Yeah,
I'm trying to capture expression, and that's why I wear an open face. I'm trying to capture the intensity. I'm trying to really bring you into the adventure, and I leave the noise of the motor. And sometimes I'm yelling at the camera because I want to show you the intensity of what I'm going through. So you'll see me flick it around and flick it at me. I'm trying to just use one camera, work it harder. Sometimes I have accidents, you know, and that one on the beach where it fell on my leg, fell on my foot. That was a result of me turning the camera. I lost momentum and it fell and landed.
How was that guy there?
That was random. That was random. I reckon look, an actor. What can I say?
No, but seriously, had you seen him before?
No.
He just appeared.
I know. with a morphine tablet. But listen, how random's this, Norm? I reckon he was watching from afar. Yep. A pretty rare thing to see a motorbike on the beach.
Exactly.
There was no one around.
Correct.
I reckon he was watching from afar, saw me on the beach. I was probably there for 15 minutes, half an hour, trying to get my leg. I was limping, and he's walked over. Yep. He might have been at home. He's grabbed something and gone down to help me. What a beautiful guy.
And when I saw your bike drifting that way, I know what's going on here. You had very little control. You had the slicks on.
Yep.
It was sludge, and the camber went into the mountain. The camber was going into the mountain.
And you know a GoPro does not show camber or step
correct.
Well at all.
Exactly. So the camber's going in. So you had no choice of going that way.
Correct.
So which leads me to the question, why the hell do you ride a Road King? Why not ride a proper bike that's suited for those conditions?
Because it would be boring. Because I'm after a challenge. And this is a poignant moment. This is a poignant point of the whole vlog. I'm in control of my business. I'm in control of my life. I do it well. I do real estate well.
You were just in the local news just the other day.
For what?
You and Michelle for winning. Yeah.
Not just Victoria.
I think it was Australia.
Australia.
Yeah. Mm.
So we're obviously doing that well. When I'm on a motovlog, I like to be out of control, and I like to see. I'm looking for a challenge and I'm looking for adventure. It sounds like a song, and I'm looking for that. So it's whatever comes my way. Can I overcome the obstacle using my brain?
Yep.
And people might laugh and say, well, I would have done this differently, I would have done that, but you're not there.
Yep.
You're not at you're not at 15,000 feet where there's 65% oxygen. You're not on a Road King. You're not in mud, and you don't have racing slicks on, and you might have done it differently, but I'm just doing it the Danny Hayes way.
I know where you've come from. I know your background. I've heard your story many times before. I can also imagine there is some of that aspirational stuff happening with you. You want to ride a Road King. Let's be honest. I
don't like people telling me that you can't do this and you can't do that.
Yeah, sure.
Whether it be riding a road.
But what I'm saying, it's a beautiful, big, fancy bike. You want to be riding that as well.
No, Norm. No, I disagree.
Okay. All right.
No. It's not about that.
There you go. See, this isn't bullshit.
I've got a beautiful, fancy bike out there.
I can see it.
Right. It's not a beautiful, big, fancy bike. These people that say I'm on the wrong bike, or you can't ride that bike, or you can't do this. I just keep proving to you time and time again, like when I wrote my book and said it'll never get published. You can't do this and you can't do that. I get sick of hearing that. I get sick of people telling me I can't do this and I can't do that. I just keep doing it.
I'm one of those people that says you shouldn't be riding that bike.
Well, you know what? You can ride a Road King from Los Angeles alone to the Bolivian Death Road and back.
Yep. So the videos are not Hollywood made up. You don't have a production team?
I wish I did.
So here's a relevant question that wouldn't have been apparent in your production. From Blown, what time of the year was this trip taken?
I reckon it was the end of October.
Yeah.
End of October, because I flew home on December 1. I was gone about 35 days. And people often say, why don't you slow it down and why don't you camp? Why don't you camp instead of hotel it? I covered 20,000 kilometres in 34 days. You don't have time to camp. There was a goal, to get to the Bolivian Death Road and back, and to ride through 11 different countries. Yep. You don't have time to camp.
Can I just say as well?
Yeah.
You're not capable of camping.
No, camping shit. Let's be honest.
You couldn't camp. Some of your fans are clearly learned motorbike people, and they clearly understand what's happening, and they can often back up what you're saying. All right, okay. I love this question they're trying to say Lisbon, but it's spelt with a 5. I'll just say Libin. What was the most surprising aspect of your trip on the Death Road? I love that question. The most surprising thing.
The most surprising thing about the Death Road was how easy it was to ride. It wasn't. Now listen, put some buses or some trucks on that road, that's the Death Road. But what I rode wasn't a death road. What I rode was a spectacular road with some amazing views that is now a tourist attraction. But in the day, 300 people a year died there. Buses went over the edge, and I can see why. Imagine rain, and imagine, you know, that road.
And a bus.
And a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, the Bolivian Death Road was quite easy to ride, to be honest.
That's honesty. There you go.
Yep.
You could have said some bullshit then. Yeah.
Well, the before I got rescued at Ecuador, that road that I was on for hours, that was a hard road to ride.
I don't know why you kept going down that road. Why you didn't turn around? Why didn't you turn around? There was a point in time, I understand your arguments that you were so far in, but there was many points in time where clearly that road was getting shit. You could have turned around.
If I'd made it through, Norm,
Yep.
How do you think the vlog would have been? What do you think people would have said?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess they would have said, I mean, if you hadn't made it through, then I suppose it was just another vlog. You know, it was just another road.
They would have said perseverance.
Sure.
You know, he stuck to it, he didn't turn around, he got through it, he made it through that boggy patch, can't believe he did that. Again, it's a bit like gold fever. You've come so far, you're like 4 or 5 hours into a road, and you know you've only got 2 hours or 3 hours in front of you. Do you go all the way back and go back to the start, or do you just think, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I've got to go for it.
Tyre marks, the lack of other traffic. Surely that made you think, maybe I shouldn't go down this road.
Norm, I'm not scared to go where other people haven't gone. Sounds like I'm going to the moon.
No, okay, fair enough.
I sound like an astronaut.
Oh, God. Knowing that translator apps can download a language or two locally, why in God's name didn't he load Spanish up?
I didn't need it.
It's actually true. No, you are absolutely right.
Do you know what's bizarre? I can be having a conversation with a policeman who doesn't speak any English. I speak no Spanish.
We saw it.
And guess what? It just did not work out.
No, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right.
You know, again, it was a challenge.
Yeah, it was frustrating from our point of view because for those of us that like to plan life a bit more, that's why it was frustrating. Yeah.
I think people plan so much they plan all the fun out of it.
Well, okay, let me challenge it. I don't think there's anything wrong with planning.
No, I don't. It just becomes boring.
I've had plenty of fun whilst planning as well. So I'm just saying, that's what you want to do. That's the way you provide entertainment. It's fantastic.
That's correct.
Right, here we go. Oh, God. Deborah, why do we have to watch Danny eat and talk while riding? Instead of showing us his food all over his lips, mustache and beard, why not turn the camera and let us see the scenery while he talks? He has the camera on himself too much. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've actually taken that on board. When you show the camera on yourself, you're also showing what you're doing is you're showing someone riding. So the trick is it's 1, 2, 3, 4, change scene. 1, 2, 3. You got to keep changing the scene. And Motovloggers, that's a mistake they make. They just film the same thing for too long. So if I turn the camera on myself, you get to see the scenery behind me because sometimes that's quite spectacular.
Yeah.
So I show myself eating on a bike. Now, I'm trying to show you that you'll see me pushing a button on a lift. You'll see room service. I'm showing you all the little things that are very easily edited out because I'm trying to encapsulate the whole narrative as one. So I'm going to show you me eating. And when you're soaking wet in the rain, it's day 17, and you're lonely, and you're tired, and you're at elevation, you're down. Do you know what? You're not really thinking about, is my mouth open or is it closed? And if there's food spewing out, all I'm showing you is that I'm doing it hard, and I don't care.
Yeah, I reckon there's sometimes where you want to show you don't care as well, which is fine. It's part of the entertainment. It's fine. Let's just be honest. It's fine. Whatever. You know, for you as a contrast to that, I'm that person. I fast forward through the scenery. I do, and I'm sure I'm not alone. I want to see your adventure.
You can't please everyone. I get some people that they love the scenery, and other people go, say that I fast. So you can't please everyone.
Exactly. So it's a matter of. In my opinion, it's a matter of doing it the way you want to do it. Yeah. There was a few questions, and I've got a note of myself here. There was a few questions around, sometimes you would say things like, 14-hour day, and I've just arrived, and people are doing the math and thinking, hang on a second, hang on, Danny, there's only 24 hours in a day. How have you managed all that? Obviously, some days are going to be longer. And then there was a couple of questions around, again, I hate turning this into the negative questions, but there was some questions questioning your capacity to do that day after day. And I want to kind of answer some of it and then lead you into something. For those that didn't see some of Danny's earlier videos, there was lots of early videos, way before bikes.
Yeah, real estate.
And there was the one where you did that 50K walk.
No, it was, I wanted to see...
Sorry, at 10,000 steps or something.
So you know when you have the steps counter on your thing? Yep. I wanted to see what happened when you got to 100,000 steps.
That's right.
So I did that in one day.
You did, with Harry out the Yuyangs?
Yes,
or
correct.
somewhere. And you walked 100K or something.
I did 93 kilometres in one day.
Exactly. So now, those don't know, my wife's a former professional athlete. I know a lot about that type of stuff. To see you, that wasn't bullshit. I know it wasn't bullshit. You just decided one day to walk 93 kilometres. You were toast by the end of the day. I don't know how long it took you to recover. So that was then. You're more match fit now. You're in better shape. So I think for people that don't know that, your determination to do that type of thing is extraordinary. Once you decide... So when I watched you doing those long days, day after day after day, I got it.
Yeah. You have to, it's the perseverance of pain.
Yep.
It is, and I just want to say this, and some people will relate to this. When you're in extreme pain, your back's aching, your bum's aching, your leg's aching, your arms are aching, and you have to be alert as well, because you take one corner wrong, you're going to die. You're going to come off. Very easy to crash your motorbike. When you're so
particularly
focused,
when you're going no hands, putting stuff on your lips, and we're all watching you thinking, Danny, put your hands on the bike.
I'm talking when it's like hour 11, it's dark, it's raining,
dog comes out on the street.
Dog's trying to bite you. You're so focused and you're in so much pain and you're cold. And there was one scene there, I think you saw the snow-capped mountains. It was really cold, it was like 1 degree. You are in pain. And for me, when I'm in physical pain, my mental pain goes.
Yep.
And I'm free. And that sounds bizarre to some people. But if I could ever explain the freedom for me of riding a motorbike, is long-haul motorbike riding, the more the pain, the more I like it. I mean, I don't like it, but it just gives me this sense of, and then you get the endorphin rush. Then you see your hotel, and then you go into this 5-star hotel, and you peel off your clothes, and you order a beautiful sandwich, and you just have this endorphin rush, and you go, oh my God. I did that.
And I think what people that perhaps only see you through those vlogs don't know is I saw, for those at home, I've seen the dedication you put to your career, that you was all or nothing, to the point where there were negative aspects in your life because of that.
Oh, divorced.
And then I've seen the other times where you've just decided to do something and just done it 1000%. So when I saw you doing those days after days, it was no surprise to me because I know Danny. J Mar2 says, what happened to the drones he left to come back for?
One drone was
I don't remember that.
Yeah, a drone was left in Nicaragua.
Was it left at because you couldn't take across the border?
I was actually left in Honduras.
Because you couldn't take across the border.
Correct, I got it back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, DHL, we got it back, got the batteries back. I don't know what it cost, but I got the drone back.
Right, did you have to arrange that with the border people?
No, I just had some staff sorted. I just said get my outsource. I just got staff to organise it. But
let's give that one staff member a shout out. Who was your most? Because you would have done that. You mentioned it a few times, but all the time when I was watching you, knowing what you've got here, I was thinking to myself, I bet he's called in a few tasks from the staff.
Stefan and Keely, two of my staff.
Stefan, I've seen him
they helped me out. But what I should have done, knowing what I know now about...
So these are staff in your business?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so you're paying them and they're like PAs as well?
Well, yeah, they got my drones back. I was back, because I'm busy, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I had to come, But what I should have done now is I should have flown the drone across Nicaragua and landed it on the other side. I should have flown it into Nicaragua, behind a bush, hit it, and then picked it up, and then gone on my way. But I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I was, hindsight's a wonderful thing.
It is. It's too easy to sit there and
make judgments and throw things at the TV.
Steve Fletcher asks, did you ever get sick from drinking water or food?
No. I'm very careful with what I eat. And you might think, well, he just eats
lots of packaged stuff. I notice you eating.
Yeah. Very. You don't want to get gastro on the road. I had it once, and it was bad. And yeah, you just have to be very, very careful. I don't eat a lot on the road, Norm. I think I dropped 5 kilos. That series.
I could see it throughout the series.
Yep.
You can tell that Danny wrote it that way. I was thinking, why would Danny go to that side? I don't believe it's fake. It's more that just Danny doesn't have good judgment sometimes. and does it makes bad things happen just for the content, but oh, well, it can be fun. I think what that person's trying to say is what I know, and I saw it too, and Jess, my wife, would say it as well, where it looks like you're faking stuff, but actually it's just your exuberance and your fuck it attitude. Like when you rode up that, there was a sand dune, I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? But
how good was that footage?
It was great footage. It was great content.
I mean, who's got footage of a road king riding sand hills? Vastness over the ocean.
The rest of us can sit back and think, why would you do that? You do it because that's what you're there for.
Yeah, thank you. People say, why don't you sightsee more? I'm not there to sightsee. I was there to ride along the Bolivian Death Road. Okay, riding on, and people kept saying, why would you go down that track? Because I'm looking for content. I see a sand dune and I go, imagine riding a road king along that. And I had the drone following me, and it was the most, if there was any spectacular footage, that distance of me riding that sand dune, I mean, who's got that? Who's got that footage?
For good reason. There was a time, I think it was on that rescue episode, where I could see, because I've known you for a long time, I could see there was stuff in your eyes, and you were saying, oh, Danny. That was genuine. You obviously realised, shit.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah. You realised that you'd made a real error of judgment.
I was embarrassed. I didn't know how cold it was going to get. I was in two minds to press the EPIRB. I knew I'd get paid out on YouTube for doing it, and then I had to think about my own safety. And can I just say this? If anyone is contemplating about pressing their EPIRB, press it. That's when you got to press it. I regret that I should have let the knobbies on. But the $64,000 question is, would have the knobbies lasted me? Or would have been riding on ball tyres heading into Colombia. So it was a 6 or 1 half.
I don't think it would have mattered, because we all saw the mechanic say you need to replace your brakes, and you went, it doesn't matter. Then we all heard your brakes squealing for the next 4 episodes. So you could have just pushed the knobbies, is what I'm saying.
The thing with mechanics is, and I'm not knocking them, they always want to replace more and more and more. And, for me, the brakes, they still had pads on them, and I was okay with that.
I've got some other questions of my own, but I'm going to read this one.
From my fan, Always Riding.
Yeah, I'm going to read this one.
You're a star now, Mr. Always
Riding. Here's your time in the sun.
Yeah, here's your 5 minutes of fame. I just want to talk about a troll. You know what a troll is? A troll is when you click on their name and they have no subscribers, and then you block them, they get banned from YouTube, then they have the same name, but say with a different number. That's a troll. But anyway.
I think this might be one of your real estate competitors in Geelong.
No, apparently he's always riding.
Okay, I'll ask it.
He should be always trolling.
We've discussed this, but I'll ask the question.
Go.
I'll ask, because if I don't ask this, people will say, why are your videos fake? The real question should be, why do you continually say everything's real? I know the answer, because you don't just lie to your viewers, you also lie to yourself. You end up believing that what you just created, either through editing or in situ, was real. One day the truth will catch up with you. It always does. I think that person might be taking life a little too seriously, but that's okay. We are here for entertainment. Let's not bullshit that.
It's a comedy channel. It's under comedy.
We're here for entertainment, and you're here for your own entertainment as well. You're doing what you want to do.
It fulfills me.
Exactly. You've got the ability to. You've worked hard. I saw how hard you work. You've got the capacity in your life to do that. But fake. I mean, all right, answer it.
Well, it's ridiculous. I mean, the camera doesn't lie.
Well, the camera can lie.
Well, you can.
But did you have a production team? Did you ever have anyone there helping you?
Never. I asked a guy to hold the GoPro.
Yeah, we saw that.
And he filmed himself. I don't know.
Yeah, Ed just held it down here as well. Yeah.
And sometimes I remember that scene. You all of a sudden I was riding, and then I was bogged.
Yeah.
So obviously I film myself getting bogged because it's in. And what happens is the camber's like that, and you ride into it'll sometimes push into a rut, and then you'll slow down, and then you'll go, oh, I'm bogged. So you'll film it.
I know just enough about media creation to know that in any type of produced, funded and that type of thing, they always talk about, is it a 1 camera or 2 camera shoot or a 3 camera shoot? And what that means is not just 1 or 2 cameras or 3 cameras, it also means extra people.
Yep.
So you decided, for those nerds like me playing along at home, you decided at the start of this to just 1 camera, or did you start with more? Because for those that don't understand, if you have 2 cameras, you've now got to edit them together. That takes a long time. It's really difficult.
I still run 3 cameras.
Yeah, I remember.
It's crazy.
But so was it at this series that you decided just 1 camera?
Oh, the last 2 years, normally I've just been using 1 camera.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, I just use 1 camera, so it's much easier to edit that way.
I ignored your content for a while.
Did you?
Yeah.
So the narrative is just in a sequential order. Yeah. So when I download it's quite easy to edit. So the storyline is just on 1 SD card, and then I'll do some drone, and then I'll incorporate the drone where I see fit.
Yeah, you'll grab a highlight, you'll put it at the start, but that's the extent of the non-chronological order editing. Yeah.
Just to try and lure, obviously lure people in.
I don't think, I love you, Danny. I love you like a brother, but I don't think you're that calculated to make it fake anyway. I mean that as a nice thing to say.
I
At
think,
the same time, it's just not what you're about.
I think it would be hard to just... Well, I think, look, the channel runs at a 98% thumbs up rate. So 2% of people are haters, and most people have that. So, and I'm glad we haven't focused all on that because I did put a little vlog out about actually explaining myself, and then someone said to me, they said, Danny, most people like you. Why are you explaining to them?
Yep.
But like all I say to those people is, don't watch the channel.
Look,
just watch someone else.
You can be narcissistic, you can be egotistical, you can be show off, but that is your nature. And as my daughter said, it's when we see you not full on, that's possibly the fake stuff.
Well, I have bravado.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't apologise for it.
I'm not apologising for my bravado, but like all of us, there's many layers. Now, with long haul, if you're on the road so long, you see some of those layers come off. You see me break down, and people. Here's a question. I mean, the crybaby. He's crying again. I've actually, some YouTubers have done some stuff about that. I could edit that stuff out. I don't. I choose to leave it in because I know it helps so many men.
Well, I also know you've been on the road by yourself for a long time up to that point. So often that you've probably dealt with your own emotions internally, and then they come out.
The healing, you just do solitude, do it alone. It's a different vibe than doing it with mates.
All right. Are people allowed to see your house? Yeah. Oh, sorry, the Airbnb that you rented for this episode.
Yeah. And it came with one of those.
It came with one of those as well. People will froth at that. Can I ask a really naive question? Do you ride that?
I'm about to do a vlog on it where it's getting a makeover, so it's going to be all changed.
Right.
I'm going to get rid of that horrid paint job.
Okay, forgive my ignorance. Is this a fancy bike?
Yes, this is number 391 of 1500 built. So I'll bring you into my... Whenever I do a live, I'm always there for the live premiere. I'm going to show exactly where I sit. So some people, this is where I was sitting watching. So I wore this helmet in Thailand series. This was an Australian one. I threw that. And this was the one I wore to Everest. There's the poncho.
Ah, there's the poncho.
So I'm still setting this room up. But that's my helmet that I wore.
There's two.
You can see Marine 1 there.
I should have asked that question because I missed probably the first, 5 episodes or something. What's the story about the name behind Marine 1?
Well, that's my beads I bought in Bolivia. The story behind, that's the whip I got from Scotland. A guy, got an island, the guy that did this tattoo that says "Don't grunt," he gave me this. Cool guy. The story behind Marine 1 is it's just a piss take. Yeah. Like when the president of the USA, he can sit on any plane and then it becomes Air Force 1.
Got it.
I'm saying that when I sit on any bike, then it becomes Marine 1. So this is where I sit. You can see I've got bottles of water here. And I spend many hours sitting, to just show that shot there. I sit many hours sitting right here.
So, again, for the nerds that might do a bit of editing themselves.
Yep.
Peel back the green curtain for a second.
Yep.
You just grab all the footage first. You've finished you don't do any editing on the road.
Yeah, I try and release one vlog a week to keep the momentum going.
Hang on, but
Yeah, I did.
did you?
I released about 6 episodes.
How long have you been back? See, I don't know this.
I've been back December, nearly 3 months. A lot of people think you've got to have the best camera. I've had all that, the best gear. I film with one, I take a backup GoPro, maybe 2. This GoPro, this is the clamp I use, which is a great clamp. The problem is it eventually snaps here. But I probably take 2 or 3 of these clamps and I just use one GoPro and a drone. That's all my gear.
And how many batteries?
About 20.
Yeah. There's lots of GoPros up there that you've killed.
They're all broken.
There's drones here that you've
They're
killed.
dead. Oh, mate, this is just some of them. I'm still setting this room up. That's my emergency little beacon there.
The real deal.
This is what I edit on the road in. This is it. Yeah, the whole time. This is my most important thing. And you'll see in vlogs. That's it there. It's actually a gaming laptop because gaming laptops are really powerful. You want speed. I just want to say this, you don't need to film in 4K if you're a motovlogger. I film in 1080 and I've always got it set maybe to 60 or 120 frames so I can do slow motion, and that's really all you need. But as I get more experienced, I'm learning to turn it down to 30 frames and also use narrow view on the GoPro, not use wide view or super view, because use that when you're on the road. But as soon as I get to a hotel, I'm learning to turn it over, put it to 30 frames and have it more linear, and you get much better quality. So you can really get a lot out of it. People go, oh, you don't get that good of quality. You know what? If you learn this thing, you can get an amazing quality. And the best thing about this is no stabilization comes. This camera here, which is in front of me, which is nearly $4,000, this is $600. The stabilization on this will just leave that for dead. This, you can wind it all around and it's still gonna...
Casey Neistat talks about that as well.
It's amazing. I try and make my vlogs emotive. I try and... The moment that there's a moment, not in this series, but in Mexico with David Parry, and I'm riding on a road and I'm flying on the motorbike like this. And I slowed it down and it was such perfect weather, perfect road. I was with David, I was happy, and I was flying and I put this music to it and I slow motioned it down. And I don't care what the punters think, but for me, I captured the moment, and I wrote a subtitle that said, this is one of the most magical moments of my life. I felt like I was flying, everything was perfect, and the right song and a good slow motion, to me, just adds depth to what I'm trying to convey.
Where do you get your music from currently?
Epidemic Sound. It's a subscription-based platform, $39.95 a month, millions of songs on there, and you won't get demonetized. Norm, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. I hope we've answered some questions, dispelled some myths. No matter what I say, people are going to believe their own thing regardless. I just want to say thank you to the people that follow me. Thank you for the people that are in the live chat all the time. And I honestly don't know where my next adventure is. But I'm going to not edit out the ugliness of humanity. I'm going to try and show myself warts and all, and I know that's confronting for some people and they don't like it, but I think for me it's important that I try and keep my vlog as authentic as possible and not try and script it in a way where it becomes so politically correct that it just becomes boring.
You do some very, very silly things, but I know why you do them, and they're entertaining. They're entertaining.
What silly things do I do?
Oh my God, just